Greetings this evening of your time. How are you all? Oh, thank you very much. Although you do create your own reality, and in this physical reality that you exist within for now, you do so through your actions. We have always shared with you that your beliefs and therefore your emotions and thoughts are a foundation for those actions. And that foundation has a subtle effect upon the actions, and that subtle effect again through the actions creates the reality. Therefore, we wish to draw your attention to the fact that your words, what you say, will often again be indicative of your truest belief. Will often again, in and of themselves, the words, be a direct indicator for, shall we say, certain ideas that perhaps you no longer wish to carry around, but do indeed perpetuate, and the willingness to express it in language is your indication that you still hold to some degree these beliefs. You may entitle this interaction, if you wish, hope, intention, and the details. Understand the following. Very often, the words that an individual will use is, well, I hope this will happen. Or if there is something they truly wish to manifest, they will say, well, I hope. I can only hope in that sense that this thing that I truly believe is most indicative of who I am will occur. Understand, as we have shared, that hope in that application, in that usage, implies an underlying sense of doubt, implies an underlying sense many times of despair. And in this, shall we say, condition of doubt and despair, it would take a ray of hope, a miraculous occurrence, in order, in that sense, to allow me to do the thing that I wish. Now, needless to say, this is not the approach of a conscious creator. Well, I hope. Well, I think it would take a miracle for me to express who I am. Therefore, allow us to begin, rather than simply pointing this out, by providing an alternative to that wording, which then vibratorily sets up a new, shall we say, effect, a new cause, and therefore a different result. And that is, when you find yourself saying, I hope, or I can only hope, simply substitute the word hope with the word intend. I intend to do this, period. Therefore, in that sense, that still leaves you leeway and still, shall we say, states to the universe that this is what is representative of who I am. I trust my timing. However, knowing that perhaps I cannot act upon it right now, I do not hope that this will occur. I know that it will. However, I do not know when. Therefore, what allows you to, shall we say, crystallize it as a request to the universe itself is phrasing it in the form of an intention. For understand, many things which excite you are not immediately available. You cannot do anything in that sense about certain things that excite you in a given moment. But that does not mean that that excitement is held from you unless in that moment that is the definition that you assign. What allows you to play through that moment and perhaps bring a moment closer whereby there will be a choice that you can act upon to bring the most exciting thing is, again, affirming or stating to the universe that this is my intention. Now, again, if something is not available in a given moment, Stating it as an intention sets up the vibration that, all right, I acknowledge what is in the moment. I choose with my excitement and act with integrity upon it from what is in the moment. But I wish to remind you, O universe, that I still intend to do this. Therefore, again, I will act like a creator in the moment, but one of the things that I still have the choice to do is, again, restate my request in the form of an intention, not a hope. Understand, when you are in a given moment whereby the thing that excites you the most is not available, paying attention to what is in front of you and acting upon those set of choices through your excitement with integrity is a statement that allows you to set up, perhaps you can say, the groundwork for the most exciting thing. Allows you to set up what will present itself as the details leading from where you quote unquote are to quote unquote where you wish to be. Now, paradoxically, if in a given moment there is something which is not available to you, and you establish a lengthy and complex set of details that you feel will be the only likely way to get to that intended idea from where you are then fixating on the details, many times, again, at the cost of the intention itself. Therefore, understand, when you have a clear intention, the details for how that clear intention plays out are automatic, do not require attention. They will be, shall we say, spontaneous in any given moment, for things will introduce themselves that simply were not available, perhaps you can say, in a past moment. So in, shall we say, setting up the details, you are not even able to take into consideration many things which will develop. And again, fixating on a particular set of logical details will very often have you focused in a very fine way, and then very often you will not even notice the new circumstances that come up that do actually allow you to accomplish what it is you wish to do far faster than the complicated, detailed way that you figured was the only way possible. So what this all boils down to is loosening up on the details, on how you will allow your creations to come about. And perhaps you can say tightening up on the intention, on your unswerving willingness to maintain a clear intention. Therefore, again, by extension, in any given moment, there are always things that are available that you can act upon. If there are things that you wish to do that are not immediately actable upon, put that aside. But in the form of an intention. I still intend to do this, but for now I will reground myself to the moment in the form of, again, seeing what is right in front of me. Choose from the choices or options available in any given moment with that excitement, allowing that excitement to make it most obvious which choice is most representative of who you choose to be. Act upon what is available without any, shall we say, insistence on the outcome. Simply act because it excites you and allow the details of how the results play out to simply fall as they will. Very often individuals, when acting upon something very exciting, will, rather than concentrating on the energy of the excitement as a motivation, concentrate on what they perceive the outcome will be. That, again, perhaps is not always the point of the excitement. Many times, perhaps most, it will be. Something will excite you, and when you act upon it, it will play out in perhaps an expected way. But should you find that you are acting upon something with your excitement, and that excitement begins to shift, you need not take that shift in the form of failure, accepting it as a failure. Simply, you can understand that that shift is a part of whatever your intention is. And it may, again, not play out in a given moment from what is available according to expectation. Your willingness to maintain an expectancy that it will play out somehow to your advantage is loosening up on the details and maintaining the intention of the excitement itself. You need not despair if, again, something which has formerly excited you begins to lose the momentum of that excitement. For if you have acted upon that excitement, you have taken certain steps. In the taking of those steps, certain results were reaped. You may be imagining that it must play out in a certain way, but it may simply be those very minute steps that you took gave you the information. And the excitement was, perhaps you can say, in this case, the carrot leading you there. Understand, when that excitement shifts, you can do one of two things. You can say, oh no, I've lost my sense of purpose, and wander around aimlessly. Or you can say, all right, how fascinating. I never would have guessed this. Not as I expected. Congratulations. What is now right in front of me? And you will find different things to be in front of you than were when you were acting on the other exciting thing. Grounding yourself back into the moment and then asking from what is available right now, what does excite me, allows you to continue on the momentum toward the clear intention. Fixating that, now what, when the excitement seems to shift, does not allow you to continue fluid movement. One exciting thing leads to the next, whether or not it seems in any way to be connected. The excitement, the vibration of the excitement itself is the connection. Tells you it is related. Tells you, in fact, that the details to get you, as you create it from here to quote unquote there, is through this excitement. And that excitement is, in fact, ultimately what winds up being the details. Therefore, you can allow yourself, in following your excitement, to have the results of this excitement and the following of it lay down the very details that will lead you to your clear intention. When again you fixate on the details, well, I must take care of every little detail in order to have my intention take place. You very often, if not always, do so at the cost of the excitement in the moment. At the cost of a reflection of who you truly are. So understand that automatically, and this has always been the case in anything that you have ever done anyway, will the details work themselves out. Now, if in a given moment you have particular deadlines within the arrangements and agreements that you set up, by all means, honor your deadlines and utilize what is available in doing so and choose from that whichever one in that circumstance will be the most exciting thing. But you need not be responsible for how everything will play out. And if you begin to trust in your moment-to-moment excitement, then the details will simply become part of the process rather than the process itself, and will lead you in the shortest path of least resistance to the most exciting thing, whereby fixation on the particular details themselves at the cost of the intention will slow down the process, will add more events, more separations, thereby requiring more time to experience them. What I am suggesting is that by substituting hope with intention, by acting on what is available, maintaining that intention, everything else takes care of itself. And it is that simple. If you allow it to be, it will always be up to you. Such complete, perfect 100% creators are you all. Our approach in my particular society never in that sense pays attention to the details. They are always an automatic, effervescently ever-flowing set of events that simply automatically results from the having of the clear intention and the acting upon the excitement in the moment. So at least from my perspective, not that I am important in the overall scheme of your life and daily happenings, but in our reality, there is a blatant example in our society that this does work. When you begin to follow your excitement in each moment, and perhaps down the line, see how things which were entirely unrelated to the most exciting thing led directly to it, you will establish the trust that I am speaking of. For one other thing that simply does not exist in our society is what you call doubt itself. Never do we have any form of trust that is not consciously placed. For again, doubt is not a lack of trust. It is a complete trust in the very thing you say you don't prefer. And we always, in that sense, choose to express our complete trust in whatever is right in front of us and trusting in our ability to create perfectly by following the vibration that is most representative of who we as an individual are. This always results in the fulfillment of all your dreams and wishes. And as perhaps you can say a positive side effect, always is of ultimate service to the society that you are in, to all other individuals, to the planet itself. For when you act with integrity, that takes into consideration everything else being an extension of you. And the respect that you will afford to these extensions will be mirrored back to you in your own reality. You will, in a sense, as you are willing to validate externally, have that mirrored back to you 100-fold in the form of what you would perceive to be self-validation. We wish to thank you. Thank you for your willingness in that sense to recognize that only slight, simple, minute shifts in your perspective and point of view result in grand changes in your entire reality. Those tiny little points of view are what has resulted in the life that you are living. Therefore, what is positive in your life is the result of tiny shifts in point of view, and what is perhaps perceived to you or by you as negative is also only a slight point of view. There is no, shall we say, mountain to move. Your life is the expression of the mountain of your consciousness and simply moves as you choose to move it, and always has. Therefore, the slight shift in perspective is all that is necessary and has again been what has already resulted in the reality that you now hold. So each time you find a perspective, as simple as it may be, that works for you and allows you to express your fullness, your integrity, your power, that can be all it takes, as you say, to transform your entire life. I am not saying that from the assumption that all of you have lives which need great transformation. I recognize that much of what you have now created is satisfactory to you. However, we are discussing going a step further. We are discussing the fact that you can have it all And when I say that, note your reaction. For if your reaction to any degree is, well, yeah, sure, you may understand that that allows you to see where you still draw the line within you. Because when I say all, everything that you desire, I mean it, literally. But it is up to you and your willingness to accept that you can have it all and not need to have it all at the expense of anyone else, at the expense of your integrity. Your power is so great that you have as much power as you need to accomplish anything you wish in your life without harming yourself or anyone else. And perhaps again, conversely, while being of service to yourself and everyone else. That is the degree of power that you have. The degree of power that you have is so great that you can create the apparency that you don't even have that much power. Now, I understand perhaps this sounds like a contradiction of terms, but think about, ponder how much power one would need to have so much of it that they could actually convince themselves they are helpless. That is an expression of great power. Your willingness to experience yourself as discrete individuals with perhaps you can say a high degree of amnesia of the soul is an expression of great power. To forget over 99% of everything that you know is an expression of great power. Once you recognize that you have done so purposefully to explore the remaining 1% in peace, to explore the remaining 1% without what you would create in this physical perspective to be the confusion of the other 99%, is an expression of a power greater by far than the splitting of your atom. That is simply fractional in comparison to the power that you express on a moment-to-moment basis, from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year in your life. And that is the expression of the power that indeed allows you to create the entire reality that you are within and only have the apparency of you being a player within it. Again, it may seem contradictory to say this is power, but it is. And we respect and revel in your bold willingness to explore the degree of separation and limitation that you as a society have chosen to do. For there are, shall we say, many consciousnesses out there which are not nearly so bold and which never do, in that sense, choose to participate in this style of creation. There is, shall we say, a respect from that realm for all of you. Ironically, many times that is the realm many of you will respect, but you are far, perhaps you can say, more respected from that realm for your bold conviction. When we say that you are the masters of limitation, we do not say so to, shall we say, berate you or chastise you. Simply to understand that masterhood itself takes many forms. And the choice to master limitation and separation itself is a bold choice. To express your power to the degree where you will choose from time to time to not feel your connection and therefore create the sensefulness of being alone is very brave. However, you have done so just fine. Have, in that sense, shown yourself that you can do even that. Therefore, by maintaining your clear intention from this point forward on what it is you now wish to do, you can begin to express your master of unlimitedlessness. It is up to you. Whatever you decide, all that is will love you unconditionally. Whatever you decide, we will love you unconditionally as well. Perhaps by following our lead and choosing to match that unconditional love and apply it to yourself will also, aside from maintaining your clear intention and allowing the details to fall into place, aid and assist you in accelerating your timing. For your willingness to validate who you are then allows you to be that you most fully, most effortlessly, most directly, removes the resistance toward expressing who you are simply because you choose to explore, simply because you choose in expressing a style of amnesia of the soul, to discover, to learn things as if for the first time. That is something that you cherish most greatly even within your society. For many times when you are perhaps watching your television or watching a movie, as you say, you will enjoy them far more the first time, not having an idea of what will occur. You even in that sense have a saying that there's nothing like the first time, which you apply to many things. But the idea is that you could not have that experience at all if you already knew everything, for you would always know what to expect. So understand that part and parcel of this physical reality itself is the experience of the unexpected, but perhaps you may wish to look at experience the unexpected in joy. Because that is one of the points of this reality. Very often individuals will create upset from the unexpected, which paradoxically creates upset for one of the very reasons you've chosen to create this reality. Therefore, in grounding yourself to this idea most firmly, you may understand that in our society, when one individual approaches another and asks, "How is it going?" and the answer is not as I expected, our reply is congratulations. And you too can congratulate yourself when something occurs that is entirely contrary to what you expected. For that is the details playing themselves out, leading you toward your clear intention. If you label it as an interruption, you slow down your own process. If you say, "Well, how unexpected, congratulations, what are the new circumstances? Oh, new choices, choose with my excitement, oh joy." It can be that simple. When something unexpected comes up, that is the point. That is allowing you to experience that first time that you all say you love so much. Therefore, embrace the unexpected. Revel in the unexpected. Swim, dive into the unexpected. Rather than approaching the unexpected again as an interruption, explore it willingly, purposefully. All right, this is unexpected. Congratulations. Perhaps at first you are simply humoring yourself by doing this. But if you set up the vibration of congratulating yourself, you can then extend that to beginning to look at, now that I have created this unexpected set of circumstances, what new advantages lie within them. If you look for the advantages from the unexpected occurrence, you get something new to act on that was not present before. By definition, unexpected. Therefore, you accelerate your timing toward your clear intention. If you decide to interpret the unexpected as an interruption, you then act interrupted and get the result of having been interrupted. Then perhaps you then create the connection that, well, when something unexpected comes up, it always has a negative result. But it is not the unexpected thing itself that has the negative result. It is your assignment of meaning, your interpretation about the unexpected thing that yields the result. Do you understand the distinction? All right. Therefore, I now intend to open up this interaction for equal sharing. I do not hope that you will participate, for I am sure that you will. I am not concerned at the details of how this interaction will play out. In fact, I am not concerned about anything. I am not concerned about the details of what I will say next. I am not concerned about the details of what the next interaction will be about. It simply is unimportant to this moment. What is important to this moment is that we are all here in choosing to co-create and will now, in an open and equal manner, exchange, interact, and share and co-create. For this gift that you bequeath unto me and my respective societies, I thank you, for it is a great gift that we do relish, and ask you now how we may all be of mutual service to each other. Sharing. Yes.
Hi, Elan.
Greetings.
Excellent talk. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Had no idea what I was going to say. Never do.
I have two questions. One's for my sister Nancy,
All right.
and one for myself. I was wondering if you could contact Akahi, and I appreciate the term of endearment, his nickname for me, but I would like a stronger, different nickname.
Oh, all right. One moment. Old nickname was Little One. And that, in a sense, had to do with, perhaps you can say, in recent incarnations, the mere vast difference in your physical size. Therefore, it was appreciated in that, shall we say, experience for what it is. But what I am receiving perhaps as a substitute, and again, you will interpret this in any way you wish, is firecracker. Still little, but packs quite a punch.
Thank you.
And we thank you as well. Question number 2.
This is from my sister Nancy. Her dog was just diagnosed as having a very fast-spreading cancer. It was in his toe, and it was cut out, and it's grown back again, or seems to have grown back again, and she'll find out on Tuesday. The questions are, she wants to know if you can tell her anything about that, for one. If it has spread, then the dog will die.
It is our perception from our particular sense in this moment that perhaps you can say the time of transformation is nigh in that relationship. But again, understand the functional word is transforming. Nothing is lost. Simply definitions are now different.
I'm sorry, is what?
There is a likelihood that that particular animal will transform. But again, have highlighted that the word is transform. Still there, changing shape. Proceed.
Okay. She wanted to know what the reflection was for her, and if the animal was taking on anything for her.
One moment. In this instance, it is not that apparent to us, simply the sensing of the outcome. But again, that is the symbol, the dog, of service itself. And understand that from what is perhaps about to transpire, one can lament and feel grief, which implies that something can be lost, or can glean the service and ask how it is of service to be looking at this particular issue at this time. If there is perhaps direct interaction with her, then perhaps we can interface with more of the reasons. But right now, that is not apparent to us.
Thank you very much.
And to you. And do feel free to release, for that is a form of centering. and is a form of self-statement and definition. Always feel free in these interactions to do so. We thank you. Sharing. Female.
Hi, Elan.
Greetings.
Last time we spoke, I talked to you about the visitation from the ancient ones, the balls of light, the
Ace.
children, and I want to talk a little bit more about that.
All right. We do ask, for the purposes of this interaction, that each of you, for now, do limit our interactions to one overall topic per, shall we say, exchange. This does not mean that you will not have the opportunity to ask other questions and have other interactions. Simply that it will move from person to person in more of a fluid way to include more individuals, and you will very often, if not always, find that whatever questions you will have will be asked by someone else, or we will come back to you again. Therefore, do proceed with your first topic.
Okay. I had another visitation by these beings. They were silvery and almost translucent, and they referred to themselves as Zarkonians.
All right. We are not familiar with that particular vibrational translation, but do proceed.
They knew you.
Again, by that name, but do proceed.
Okay. They said they work with my energy field with radionics, and they talked to me a lot about that. They told me that I'm a sphere of light and to practice being a color and resonating with it.
Oh, very good.
I did meditate on a sphere of light in my hands with my eyes open, and to see what you had suggested, see what would emerge from it. And something did emerge from it.
What did you see?
It was a circular violet light surrounded by a green light around it that moved around within the sphere of light. And when I saw that, I disconnected from it and connected with it, and it kept reappearing. And I had a very familiar feeling about it, as though I had seen this when I was a child. And so my question to you is, can you tell me more about my going to the circle of light when I was a child?
Not really, for there are particular recognitions that will come as a flash of revelation and will, shall we say, connect many of the dots that you are perceiving as random events. However, we will say it was a style of direct participation with another stream of consciousness other than your general human stream of consciousness, though there were human children in the circle. We will also say that the symbol of the sphere in the form that you have seen is indicative of what you would call your heart energy and your crown chakra energy itself. Therefore, in a sense, you may understand that to have been a reflection that these areas are strongly, conducively aligned toward establishing certain connections. Therefore, pay attention, shall we say, to the energy sensations, to the vibratory sensation in your chest area and at the crown of your head when you are further exploring this idea.
So you don't know who Zartok is? Do you know who that is?
Again, Ace, but not necessarily by that name. That is your interpretation, and that will do.
All right, one other question. What was the significance of the grouse, the bird on my doorstep all day today, and the cardinal at the window for quite some time?
All right. Perhaps I will play. However, tell me what your perception is, for I assume you had some conception at the time, and wish in that sense to share in that with you first.
When I saw the grouse this morning on my doorstep, and it wouldn't even move when my dogs were barking at it, I knew that I was going to do a great deal of releasing today. I went and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew something very significant would happen today. And I went through a past life healing that was enormously important to me.
Ace.
I believe the bird was almost a messenger for me And was
Well, both were. One in a sense of the freedom, the other in a sense of the, shall we say, unwillingness to move from your center.
that was the significance of the ground.
Ace.
And the significance of the cardinal was the freedom.
Ace.
Because it hovered at the window the whole time the past life healing was going on.
Ace. And there is a perception from within you that in connecting with certain of these ideas, you will liberate certain energies within you. What we have also again shared is that the areas that you will find to be most beneficial to concentrate upon are again the heart and all right, the head.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
In what you call altered meditative state, what I have just shared will make far more sense. For you will experience, you will feel what I am saying and need not analytically word it and nail it down. It may, shall we say, even be difficult to analyze it. It will be truly an emotional experience itself. The willingness to explore the emotional connection will open up many of the ideas that you are seeking. For it is a style of protection within you, keeping you from exposing that at this point. Simply again, I share with you that nothing that you have, that you are, or that you will ever create can overcome you. The fact that you created it in and of itself tells you that it is the timing and that you can handle it. Therefore, open up your emotions. Look at them in the sense of not analyzing them, but extrapolating the beliefs behind them. You will make many revelations.
Are you referring to the sense when I'm meditating lately that my body almost becomes completely paralyzed with a stream of energy?
Ace, but you will find that you can localize, or shall we say, experience this energy as localized in the aforementioned areas, and this will awaken certain ideas. The green and the violet in the sphere. Concentrate on the heart area with the green and the violet on the crown. Perhaps 2 spheres.
All right, thank you.
And to you. Sherry, Ace, male.
Elan, you're teaching on intention. How can I apply that within the context of the whole principle of goal setting and setting up strategies?
When, as you say, goal setting or setting up strategies, I assume that what you are calling the goals are the intention. Therefore, I am not suggesting that you cannot set up from what is available a likely course of action. But understand that many times that will distract you from what will spontaneously come up in the moment. For in the moment, you will be following the agenda, and perhaps many times then that attention on the agenda will then be at the expense of spontaneous opportunities that come up. So if you feel you must set up an agenda at all, what you are calling a strategy, which by the way also has the underlying implication that you are in a struggle and need to win, you may loosen up on the definitions of that agenda. Have it as, shall we say, a baseline guideline, but not a rigid tunnel vision experience that you will not deviate from. Our ultimate suggestion would be to not, in that sense, create any kind of rigid agenda. But we understand that it is taught in your society that that is the most responsible way to do it.
So perhaps I could wake up in the morning and say, given my intention, what can I do today to further me in that direction?
You absolutely could, yes.
Something like that. Okay, a couple of quick ones. The Zetas.
Now, one moment. For now, in sticking with the aforementioned format, we wish to stay on one subject, and then perhaps we'll come back to that. Is there anything else on the intention that you intend to speak about?
Well, the teaching amongst those that guide others in being achievers and creators is one where you set your goal, you set up a mind map of the strategy, how you're going to achieve that goal, and then every today you write a to-do list and projects and contacts, etc. It seems that in applying your teaching, that one would can still use the same strategy, just be very flexible.
Ace, and again, understand that in the daily assessment of what is available, that does bring you somewhat spontaneously into the moment. The more you are willing to hinge on that moment, the more you will accelerate your own timing. Also understand, as we have always shared, that what I am saying is not right and the agenda setting is wrong. They are simply different approaches that both work. It would seem in your society, with the timeline that you create, that the setting of the goals and the list writing and fulfilling would be the fastest way for you to have the outcome that you prefer. What I am suggesting is that you may find the spontaneous approach maintaining the clear intention, not sidetracking from it, will actually be faster. But both are valid and both work.
And more exciting.
Well, obviously, if you are following your excitement in each moment, yes.
Thank you very much.
And to you. Shut up, Ace.
You mentioned about timeline. An interesting thing happened this past week.
Oh, do share.
A friend of mine drove to Florida, and he left at 11 o'clock at night. And he found himself in North Carolina. Okay, he traveled to Florida, and he made it in 12 hours driving time. He travels over 1,100 miles. Now, he said he had he would blink his eyes and he would be in another state. He would be further on down on his trip.
May I ask you a question? What is so unusual about that?
Well, it seems like he could not drive that distance with the car that he had.
One moment.
In the time.
You can no longer say that. Well, you can say it.
Well, in our calculations and in our physics and all that we know, it can't be done.
That individual has simply demonstrated what we have discussed before, perhaps somewhat in the interaction that has been entitled The Recollection. Simply that in an integrated state, he has created less time. And, as a nice touch, taken his automobile along with him. But anyone can do this. And from time to time, you will hear individuals simply saying, I blinked and I was simply there. That will occur more and more in this transformational age due to the fact that one of the, shall we say, results of the transformation itself will be the loosening up of the typical mass agreed upon agreements. And that is one example.
Even though that the car traveled 1,100 miles and he used gas to go that far?
These are simply the details. What you may understand is that you create the time. You create the details. You create the time for the details. So you can uncreate it.
Can I do that to go to Egypt?
If you wish. However, perhaps you will wish to also consider reveling in every moment that you do create. For you are on, for instance, that plane for a reason, with certain individuals, in this case, most strongly aligned with many of the ideas that you are exploring. So by simply assuming that what you are calling the journey is no different from the destination, you will have such a good time that you will create less time, and before you know it, it will seem as though the flight, if that is what you are speaking of, has gone quite quickly. And perhaps lament at the end that it was over. Oh, that was so much fun. It is all, again, point of view. If you are enjoying where you are at, if you are fascinated and appreciating where you are at as a perfect expression of what you are creating in any given moment, you create less time.
one more thing that happened to him. He said he stopped at a restaurant and people were sort of staring at him, but not moving.
Well, in a sense, if you are to accelerate your time frame or create less time, and then be in proximity with other individuals who still choose to create the mass agreed upon stream of time, this can be the apparency. Also, can the opposite occur if you, shall we say, slow down your creation of time? You will see them moving quite quickly.
Speaking fast. Okay, he had both experiences.
All right. Realigning, reassessing, redefining.
He's quite perplexed about it.
All right. Well, he has all the time he wishes to explore that.
Thank you.
And to you, and to him. Shutting.
Elan.
Ace.
Hi, Elan.
Greetings.
Questions about my daughter.
All right.
We had a healing done with Kim.
What was it that you were healing or allowing her to heal?
Okay, I had the sense that she was too removed from her body to function well in her life.
In what way? What was the expression that led to that conclusion?
Her gross motor and fine motor coordination is behind her age.
All right. This can be a reflection of loose connection of the consciousness and body. Do proceed.
And she has trouble staying what we call on task, or at least she hasn't. Now she's better with it, but sometimes she has trouble really staying with what she's doing.
What is her age?
7, but more than her age.
Well, more than you are assigning other individuals of her age.
As I had a reading with a woman who's a medical psychic, she picked up the same thing and said that her perception was that Katie wasn't, was caught in another dimension, quote unquote.
Ah, a consensus.
Well, I didn't exactly call it that, but I just had a feeling she really wasn't fully here in her body.
All right.
So, Kim had interactions with Aliota and got the same information. And Kim did a healing with me assisting, and it was very exciting. I don't know all of what went on from Kim's end, but there was certainly a lot more energy in Katie afterward. I just feel that a lot is going on with her. I feel like she's coming into her own in many, many ways.
Ace.
And we're interacting a little more on colors that she sees. Her third eye is very, very open. I'd like your perception on all of this, and then I would like to connect it with the topic that you were discussing.
Well, all right. First of all, our understanding, perhaps, is that what you have created is a form of linking, or perhaps you can say, loosely speaking, locking of the consciousness and body. Now, when we speak about prior to the age of what you call 3 years old, for children in your society, as characteristically containing a loose connection between mind and body, allowing individuals to come and go, to and fro, about and out, as you say. There is in general at the age of 3 what you would call a type of locking or joining or completion in deciding to fulfill the living of the life in a physical means. More of, again, the establishment of the full degree of focus to allow you to experience this reality in the way that you choose to. It is our perception that this has remained loose within her to some degree. Again, perhaps to the later age that you are now sharing. And symbolically, from her perspective, she did accept, shall we say, what you might call the process as a form of interlocking. Therefore, you may now see many benefits in the way that you have desired from what you have done. But she has done the locking. She has done the healing, if you wish to call it that. She has chosen in that sense, to now fully focus in this reality.
What was this business? Do you perceive it as that she was caught in between dimensions?
Well, perhaps in one sense, understanding that you are all multi-dimensional beings existing simultaneously on an infinite number of levels. Perhaps loosely you can say that. The main point, perhaps, from your perspective, is that she was loosely, shall we say, experiencing what you would call not so much other dimensions, but a similar expression to what you generally relegate to your nighttime sleep dream state.
All right.
So in a sense, other dimensions, but dimensions closely associated with this particular dimension.
When she was under some emotional stress a couple weeks ago, she had gotten to the point where she would say a sentence and not complete the end of the sentence a few times. I noticed it, and her dad noticed it. That really concerned me.
Did she perceive that you were attentively listening?
I have no idea.
Perhaps there was the perception that she was not being paid attention to, and therefore it was not, shall we say, worth her while to even bother to continue the thought. We simply suggest, again, full attention upon what is being said, and the feedback or expression that it matters, and this will, in, shall we say, all likelihood cease.
Well, as I was part of this healing, or whatever we want to call it, I feel that I got locked in a new way.
Well, in a sense, yes.
I feel very, very connected with her in a different way. Kim also worked on, this is fascinating, a cord that is between, I guess, all mothers and children that wasn't theoretical. I felt and experienced it almost as a physical phenomena. As Kim was cleaning off the cord between daughter and mother, I felt like Kim could have pulled me across the room with this cord.
Now, I understand what you are saying. However, to again expand upon your own analogy, if you wish to create it in the concrete form of a cord, this cord exists between all individuals.
That's what I came to later, two nights later with my group.
Well, now again, you may emphasize it with a particular individual, and in that sense, it is a direct expression of reinforcing or asserting literally your connection, which need not be perceived in such gross terminology, but any symbol that you create will do as an analogy. You have strengthened that connection through your willingness to co-create in that sense. And the more you are willing to continue to co-create whatever mutually excites you, the more you will seem to strengthen that particular cord or connection.
All right, and now to tie this in with what you're talking about today, I have the clear sense that my daughter needs me. That's the message that she's giving me directly, verbally, and through all of her behavior.
Oh.
At the same time, I also have an excitement about traveling and doing workshops. But
before you proceed, what you perceive as a need is the overwhelming desire for love itself. Now, that may take the form of your physical presence, but that is not truly the point. If you are willing to begin to speak to her as an equal, in terms of beginning to share with her the concept of self-unconditional love, you will allow her to hatch and nurture her own sense of self-love. That is the need, in a sense, that you are perceiving. It need not be so literally interpreted. Once that is awakened and nurtured within her, you will see less of a tendency to what you call cling, but still a complete open willingness and joy and desire to interact. But more from the perspective of sharing than needing something that she does not already contain. And if you fulfill something within her, understand that that means she already contained it. So drawing her attention to the fact that she already contains it all, that you love her unconditionally, that means no matter what she ever does, you will always love her. That all that is loves her unconditionally. That means no matter what she ever does, all that is will always love her. It sets up an example for her to follow with her own self-love. This is the issue. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I feel that's something I already have begun to talk to her about for a number of years.
Well, do in proceeding with this.
But I also feel that just talking about the idea that, you know, she can love herself and that God loves all that is, loves her and so forth, does not substitute for her feeling that her parent is there for her. And I am balancing this with keeping a pulse on how much I can go away and leave her. When I go away on Tuesday nights to do my group, she has a lot of pain about that. She copes with it, but doesn't like it. And it upsets her sleep. It affects things sometimes during the next day.
Have you noticed to some degree, compared to what you call your past, that this has improved?
Yes.
That is the idea. She is now beginning slowly to acclimate and get used to the idea that you can be who you are and also still provide what she perceives she needs from you. Therefore, allow yourself to see how far she has come and understand the service that you do for her in also nurturing yourself.
I'm feeling more and more nurtured by being with my children.
Well, that will perhaps increase as you are willing to nurture yourself, for you will then not draw the distinction that when you are with them, it is at the cost of nurturing yourself. Simply have that be automatic, and then interacting with them will actually be what is the most exciting thing.
That's what's happening.
So simply trust it and the timing of it and the degree of it and the specifics of it.
Yeah, the split has gone into integration now. I love being with them. I feel very nurtured by it.
Well, you are doing just fine.
Thank you.
Is that of assistance?
Yes.
We thank you as well. Shutting.
Elan,
Hey, smile.
greetings, equal.
Greetings. Always.
Equally. Something I forgot to mention last month, I spoke to Ted Hall on the phone and he said greetings to you guys.
We also send Theodorable greetings and love.
Right. I figure a month away wouldn't really matter. It's just in this moment now. Anyway.
It's all the same moment to me.
Right. So, great. I was watching TV early in the morning this week and they were showing the weather in words, you know, saying sunny, cloudy, temperature. And then all of a sudden, for a second and a half, the words flashed up on the screen. The other words went away, and the words came up, contact alien beings on the screen.
Wow.
Did anybody else see it? I don't know. But I saw it, and I know I saw it. And I'm wondering what that is.
Well, what is the question?
Was it a hoax, or did I just see it?
Well, regardless of the intention, you saw it.
Yeah.
Now, what do you make of it? What is the advantage you can find in it? And what can you do about it?
Well, it was funny because I was sitting down, I had my book, and I was planning out a day when I was going to go to my cave and spend some time on myself. So I was thinking of you, and I was thinking of the whole situation, and sure enough, these words come up on the screen. It was really unusual. It was exciting. And I'm wondering if it was really true or did I just imagine it?
Well, you saw it. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Congratulations. Did you expect it?
No.
Congratulations.
So it did happen, right?
Thanks.
Was it by other means, ET means, or was it by some guy in a control booth at the TV station?
We find that if I, in a sense, share this with you, I might spoil it. Therefore, simply phone home.
What's everybody else think? No. Okay, that's great. Well,
Thank you.
that leads me up to my cave. I went to my cave, and last night, were you there? Thank you.
Proceed.
Yes.
You will be allowed a second question.
Okay, I've got some questions about it because my experience last night wasn't. I labeled it as not good. I set my expectations very high, and I didn't get what I think I wanted.
Well, again, you got something. I assume what you got you did not expect. You are now judging and assigning the meaning that it was negative. We will pause for a short break and allow you to begin to look at what was of service to you rather than what was not expected. We will then resume contact at that time with a sharing with you, and perhaps you will offer to me insight as to why it was absolutely perfect. All right.
It was, yes.
I thank you. We will return to you after your break and resume contact after approximately, perhaps, 10 to 15 minutes of your counting. Very often, in what would appear to be the most mundane of happenings, great and overwhelming knowledge can be transformed. Yeah. It is your willingness to, shall we say, nurture the childlike fascination within you that allows you to approach everything with that fascination, and therefore allows you, in maintaining an expectancy, an overall positive expectancy, and not a rigid expectation, allows the situation on the path of least resistance to deliver its jewels.
Yeah. What was happening the most for me last night was fear. Fear for my inner child, the child within, which was so symbolic. I was inside this cave. I was really getting in touch with that the most. So the fear got in the way, and I, wanted to see balls of fire, things in front of me. But you're right, because as soon as I acknowledged the little things, like drops of water dripping on my head, for instance, I felt more aware of what was going on there. Something else that happened too is that I heard flapping of wings, like let's say when a medium-sized bird, like a dove or a pigeon, takes off. And there were no birds in the cave, but I heard that. And that could be bats now. They weren't bats though. And also, most importantly, I sat there for 4 hours in the pitch dark, in black. And that's a powerful thing to do.
Perhaps, in a sense, symbolically, you may understand you had liberal usage of your language, a womb without a view.
Definitely. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh, thank you. Feel free to.
Okay, one of the energies that I do need to ask you about is that I was feeling a lot of dolphin energy once again. I had visions in this blackness of glittering oceans and dolphins playing in the ocean. I'd seen a documentary a few nights before. It might have spurred that on, but I did feel that. And,
Understand the accessibility of that energy lends itself to very easily being tapped into. So perhaps rather than blaming the documentary, simply understand that that is what you chose to attract when you were in a very receptive and open state, completely unaware of what to expect.
Synchronicity.
Thanks.
So, also, I've come to the realization that it's so big, it's so close and in front of my face that I won't let myself see it. I won't let myself remember these experiences because I believe that something big is going on in my life right now.
Oh, well,
in my
perhaps
dreams, in my waking.
If you were to define what that something might be, what would it be?
A transformation, major. But
perhaps that will do, and you need not make it so mysterious.
Yeah. So can I ask some questions about the cave?
You can ask.
Briefly. Am I the only one who is visiting this chamber?
Perhaps in this time period, however, there have been many over the many, shall we say, ages that it has existed.
Okay. And
perhaps, again, another way to approach this would be, for now, one of the only visitors from your direct dimension of experience. But since this will represent an overlapping vibrational resonance, you may understand that perhaps you can say other individuals are visiting them from other dimensional experiences, and sometimes what you would perceive as a sight or a sound.
Yes, definitely. Sound. So in order to seek a certain specific energy, what could that be?
Well, first of all, while in the chambers, again, a conducive atmosphere for vibrational resonance itself, did you utter any notes?
Yes.
Did you vibrate, sing perhaps, or what you say are sometimes called Om?
Yes, I'm major deja vu right now.
Then I will,
I did.
in that sense, understand that you did, yes.
Yes, I did. Most definitely.
What did you then find as a response?
Last time I got an echoing, I didn't get an echo. This time I just found myself humming to myself, vibrating among. No, I felt a physical. I felt hard as a rock. I felt very still and paralyzed and hard as a rock. That was
Well,
an
also
experience I
understand
had.
that having had gotten what you call an echo,
Yes.
and then doing a similar thing and getting seemingly no echo, is in that sense a result as well.
That stiffening of my body and that hardening was frightening in a way.
Well, in a sense, it was more a result of your own contraction in what you would call the expression of the feeling.
It was.
Simply 3 deep breaths and the re-establishment and restatement of your clear intention can be all that is necessary to begin to then flow and become more fluid and less contract.
Do you feel that there's a healing energy there? Because I went there I hurt my hand, and I need to tap into that, and I went there for that reason.
Well, do understand, and we have discussed this many times before, that you always do the healing. That particular circumstance will perhaps magnify and mirror back to you certain ideas within you. If healing is what you are concentrating on, it can have the effect of enhancing and magnifying the effect. But that is simply, again, because you then enhance and magnify your expectancy.
So there were high possibilities there that I...
If you wish to apply it in that way, you will find great success.
Okay.
But you are doing the healing and utilizing what you have created within your reality to do so. At least understand that fundamentally.
Is there anything that you could advise me on as far as searching for other chambers along that line? As far as literally north and south of this area?
Perhaps not so much finding other areas, but another simple suggestion. Do you have what you call a small drum? Or perhaps bongo, as you say?
No, I've been thinking about that a lot.
You may find that the playing of such a type of instrument within that chamber will also result in what you sometimes call deja vu, or a sense of a connection.
To other local chambers?
To some degree, yes, but also to what you sometimes colloquially will call past life connection in this case. Though we generally refrain from removing you from this particular life's focus. In this case, you will again echo and mirror back something which you can then use in this life.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeking. What I can, how I can use it in this life. It's really important to me there. So can I ask about this stick that I have?
Last question, yes.
Yes, this is the last question. Do you have anything to comment about? I found it stuck in the ground. I showed it to Andrew, and it was stuck in the ground at the entrance of this chamber. And it's really unusual, and it means a lot to me, most importantly. And it's just symbolic, I guess. It's more of a spirit stick to me.
In a sense, yes. Perhaps more than something that will support you in that sense, being that it is quite frail in that way. You may simply understand it to be a staff representative of your power itself. Power in grounding, but also power in connecting with the higher realms.
Kind of symbolic, like a caduceus, do you know what that
In a
is?
sense, yes.
Something
that
for
will do.
light to pass.
But again, if you will connect with it physically while meditating, it will, in a sense, seem to speak or perhaps sing to you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
And to you. for your willingness to explore the depths of your consciousness and come up smiling. We thank you.
Elan.
Elan.
Female.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. I have another question from, let me just get on with it. In my visions that I'm having currently about teaching the children with the balls of light, the holographic light, I'm very excited about this. And I just,
So are they, by the way.
they,
The children.
okay. 2 questions about it. How can I access these balls of light now in my own energy field? And how can I assist the bringing of this technology?
Well, question, or shall I say answer 1 will also be answer 2.
Okay.
In a relaxed state, eyes open,
Okay.
manifest through your imagination as visually as possible such a ball. Perhaps at first it will seem ethereal or ghost-like, but you will begin to notice it taking on a seemingly more solid appearance. So you will literally be midwifing that style of energy into your physical reality. That will be the answer to both questions. For once you begin to whatever degree to connect with that symbol, then it will be more accessible to utilize in this reality.
Okay, just meditate on the
Eyes open
Okay.
and allow it to begin to, perhaps in a sense, crystallize into your reality. Understand that it is right there and simply begin to allow yourself to have the eyes to see it.
So in other words, this is already here. Is this these balls of light are already here?
Well, if you will look at it that way, you will have the success. Therefore, that way, perhaps you can understand literally, yes, it is something that already exists and you are calling forth into your dimensional reality.
And then how can I use them currently in my teaching situation?
Well, when you begin to connect with them on this, shall we say, more basal or dense level, then you can get that information directly. That was why it was the answer to both.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
We thank you. Shelly.
Elan.
Male. Back then.
Yes, Elan. I do find myself wanting things more. My desire level is increasing.
So is your deservability. Now, not from the overall sense of all that is, but from your own sense. Congratulations. Do proceed.
Well, I think some of it is connected with this referential preferential me that I have been utilizing in my creative imagination and in dealing with situations.
Has that been of assistance to you?
Very much so.
Oh, thank you.
Very good tool. I have had these dreams the past week where I seem to be encountering some part of my consciousness where there is reluctance or whatever to move into.
Describe.
Well, in one dream, there's a large airplane coming in for a landing, like a 747. And it comes in and there's a big black screen in front of it. And I can see that, I know that there's a runway past the screen, but the plane is going to have to go through it.
Fascinating.
Yes. In another dream, I have, I'm watching a black cyclone, a tornado, and it's charcoal black. And it's hovering around, and then I'm running down an alley, and I look back, and it's at the foot of the alley, I'm seeing this black cyclone. So there's something in my consciousness which says, expresses fear or
Are you running from the tornado?
in this, yes, I did run from the tornado.
Oh, understand. The black symbol in this case will represent a space where all is possible, where all possibilities unfold and become available. There is to some degree a reluctance in general initially when individuals begin to, perhaps for the purposes of this sentence, confront the vastness of their power. Understand Again, there is nothing that you can create within yourself that you cannot use in a positive way. And that simple piece of information can be enough to walk toward the black. In the case of the airplane, in a sense, it is a very strong reinforcement of what we have shared in the beginning of this interaction. Being that what is beyond the black screen will represent your intention. And perhaps to some degree you may understand the screen itself to be the details. It is unimportant that you focus upon them, simply continue to move through them. And again, there is the underlying knowledge that on the other side, so to speak, you get what you want. So look at your willingness to simply take that leap of faith in the airplane analogy and look at where you are running from the many vast possibilities within you in the tornado analogy, which generally implies a destructive force. But also understand that you can walk toward that. And that once again, it is not literally even a tornado. Anything in any of these dreams is you, including the black tornado. So when you sense you are running, understand that you are running from the portion of yourself that represents your unlimited nature. Your, again, all possibilities being valid and accessible. If there is a little bit of anxiety about this, understand again that excitement and anxiety are the same energy. Simply that when interpreted as anxiety, it is from a negative assignment or interpretation. If you understand you are assigning that negative meaning and simply choose to call up the referential preferential you can assign the positive meaning and walk toward it, run toward it, race toward it, and jump, dive into it. You will not be swept away. You will be placed gently and firmly on your feet, grounding you, now possessing the ability to express all possibilities. Sound exciting?
Very exciting.
All right. Will that do?
Yes, thank you very much.
We thank you. Male over there.
Elan, while we're on dreams, well, first I'd like to say that was a very beautiful lesson you gave us earlier. It was what I've been focusing on for the last 2 weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you for creating it and the connection to our particular communication. Do proceed.
Dreams. I've had a couple recently that are so bizarre that I must ask. I had a dream that I was on a magical carpet with 2 or 3 others who we were flying around a mosque, and I suddenly received such an enormous jolt of spiritual energy that my body was rigid and shaking. My ears were ringing. I wasn't at all afraid, but it was just such an enormous surge of energy. At that moment, I heard 3 or 4 voices, maybe more, that I recognized as being spirit, both male and female, telling me things that were extremely important. They were very anxious that I know these things. The energy was so strong that when I came out of the dream, I was unable to remember what it is that they were telling me, only that it was something that they considered very important that I know.
Well, in a sense, understand that you absorbed it fully, but it will unfold as to the timing of where it was useful. Lying awake in your bed in the morning was not the place.
I thought you were going to say that.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
You are now acting like an E.
The second dream.
Well, one more. But also there is, again, your willingness to soar as if by magic with other individuals of equal ilk. And this will represent, again, your willingness to begin to embrace the spirituality through and within you. Understand that if you relax when you feel the infusion of what you have termed spiritual energy, it will flow through you like a fluid circuit. And there will be no paralysis. There will be, in that sense, no sense of overwhelmingness. Understand next time that paradoxically, your willingness to relax into it will then again allow you to regain the type of movement you are used to.
It was not unpleasant at all, but I was surprised by it.
Nice. Dream number 2.
Dream number 2. Even stranger, but I'll only mention one aspect of it. I was walking away from a brief discussion with someone who was a little agitated, but I wished them well and sent them golden light. I was walking away down the street, and walking towards me was a boot about boot size with a head mounted to it.
Oh.
And male head, so the entire the entire individual was about 2 feet tall or shorter. It made a comment that the person that I was just talking to was a little upset, and we had a good little chuckle about it, and we just kept walking. It was a very unusual image. Of course, being one boot with a head mounted to it didn't move but it moved in a very graceful manner. Could you comment on that?
Yes, it is simply, again, the combination of the willingness to connect spiritually, so to speak, hence the head, while yet, again, in a very blatant form, remaining quite grounded. It is perhaps, again, a very unusual representation of that circuit now becoming complete.
Pleasant fellow.
Well, understand that you are him. And perhaps we'll get your kicks in much the same.
I won't hit my head as much.
No, but you will always get ahead.
Thank you so much.
And to you, for your willingness to allow us to have some fun. Shut it!
Hello, Elan. Thank you for being here.
Greetings.
I have a tennis friend that I spent about an hour and a half with yesterday. And she was asking me...
Did you play tennis?
Yes, we did.
Did you win?
Yes, another time.
How did she handle it?
We were partners.
Oh, how convenient.
Yes, right. In the winter, I play doubles. Winning and losing is a lot less important.
Oh, how creative.
Yeah. She was asking me a lot of questions about you and Essassani and the concepts that we're learning. And for the first time, she was asking these questions. And while we were talking, which was for about an hour and a half, it came up that last Sunday I had worked hard on leaves for 2 days, picking them up. And I developed very severe leg cramps Sunday night. And this came up in our conversation. This took place yesterday. And this morning at 8 o'clock, she called me up. And she said she had had the exact same leg cramps, the same position of the cramps, and had gone through the same experience. And reminded me that this had happened the same way a year ago, that we had both had severe cramps at the same time. And I've always been drawn to this person. I only see her in the winter when I play indoor tennis. And I admire her. And there must be a connection there.
Well, first of all, if I may ask, did you rake the leaves from your excitement to do so? I will take that as a no.
Well,
therefore, in resisting perhaps something else that you truly wish to have done, you have created resistance, friction. Is that truly so unusual?
no. But actually,
Now, I will assume she was not excited about the raking of the leaves either.
she wasn't raking leaves.
What was she doing? What unexciting thing was she doing?
I don't know. She said she'd been very busy.
Oh. Do you understand the point?
Yeah, I do, except I really am kind of excited about raking the leaves now. And I didn't used to be, but I am now because of the feeling of connection I have to the planet.
Oh,
And
then
now I
rake
feel
again.
much more positive. No, they're all up, thank goodness. As of today.
But the thank goodness implies that it was not a continually exciting exploration.
You're right, you're right.
And perhaps you raked yourself across the coals.
Well, I worked very hard that day. Harder than I really.
Wished to.
Yeah.
Hence, your body gave you some indication of this.
But I'm wondering why she had the same experience right away after we spoke of it.
Well, there is a connection that is most obvious as you have shared. Again, though, more specifically relating is what was she doing? And when you ask her, it will be more obvious.
For her, okay, for her to see why she had the Lord cramps. The connection I was wondering about is why we had them at the same time.
Well, again, you are strongly connected, sympathetically vibrant in a sense.
I'd like to ask about one dream I had.
Well,
It's my first water dream, and it wasn't really very nice. I dreamt about a large cauldron with dolphins swimming around in a circle in it, and the cauldron was being heated
nice.
to boiling water. And the dolphins were turning black, and I was beside myself. I was crying hysterically, and I was so upset.
You are simply tapping into, shall we say, some of the attitude, perhaps in symbolic form, of many of your human population toward the dolphins themselves. So perhaps you can now look at how you may be of assistance in that sense. For understand, though, there are many individuals who interact with dolphins and make that available for other people to do so. For the joy and understanding of the experience, there are also many who simply do it for the money.
Oh.
Therefore, in a sense, you may say a form of slavery.
That's interesting. I'm soon going to be meeting a woman who is very well known for her interaction with dolphins.
Also, bring this up with her as well.
Okay.
There are things for that person to share in addition to what I am sharing.
Great. Thank you very much.
And
Elan.
Ace.
First, I wanted to thank you for being patient with all of us. I think all of us should practice that.
Well, I thank you for thanking me. However, it is my pleasure. It is simply who I am to understand that if I am attracting to interact with any particular individual, I am trusting that I am doing so for a positive reason that will not only be a benefit to them or you, but also to myself as well. As you each begin, in a sense, to embody that attitude, you will also find the increasing of what you call tolerance and the decreasing of exclusionary practices. And also understand that that frustration is not being in the moment. If you are in the moment and understanding that the moment always contains whatever you need, there is no frustration. Therefore, thank you for being one of the many gifts that boldly chooses to interact with me and allow me the pleasure of your interaction. Do proceed.
I was wondering if we could switch to something lighter, using the term in the colloquial sense. I think sometimes the questions are too serious.
But do understand that everyone's question has a significance for them. Right. And just as you feel that I appreciate all questions and have what you have called patience, also understand that it is no accident that you are present with exactly the people asking exactly the questions that they are. Therefore, pay particular attention when someone asks a question that you really think was a ridiculous question. For your willingness to assume that label in general means that that answer will apply most strongly to you. And that applies to everyone.
Well, I was only talking about being serious. So, I was wondering, in short, I'm wondering what you do for fun, but I would like to ask a series of questions all relating to the same topic, so you'll understand what I'm thinking about. It will be easier if I ask all the questions at the same time. Can you tell us what you all do for fun on your planet? I already know that it's not a separate activity for you. What you are all the time is it already, maybe. But still, I'm curious about what is living like for you. First of all, what are your physical surroundings like? Do you have mountains and rivers and trees, and do you have beautiful skies and sunrises and sunsets? But moreover, are you touched by all this beauty the way we are? Secondly, I can fully understand and have experienced myself the advantages of communicating without a language as far as many thoughts are concerned. But what about literature, poetry, singing? Do you dance, play music? Do you express yourselves through art forms? Do you have sports and games? Third, do you have parties? I mean, wild parties. In short, how do you have fun?
Oh. Understand. We do very often simply play, as you are saying, for the sake of playing. This may take many forms. Sometimes we will, in a sense, play catch, perhaps you will say, with the balls of light that have been mentioned. And there will be many different activities, although they will, in general, never be of a competitive nature where one loses and one wins. In general, there is a goal that, as perhaps you can say a team or perhaps a set of teams, can accomplish this goal in tandem. So everyone always, in that sense, loosely speaking, perhaps you can say, wins in that sense. Our day will be quite spontaneous. There will never again be an agenda, and there will always be the allowance for what simply comes up, what is simply spontaneously occurring. Therefore, we always follow, in assessing what is right in front of us, our excitement, which then leads us from one exciting experience to the next. It is again spontaneous. It is again unplanned. Our physical planet is very park-like, very green. There is to some degree what you would call mountainous areas, though not as much as your own. There are many, shall we say, field-like areas, many park-like, forest-like areas. Our planet is approximately 77 or so % covered with water, perhaps including lakes and what you would call streams, rivers, would be in the upper 80%. So therefore, swimming is one of the things that we also like. Participating in, shall we say, activities in the water is a particular joy of my own. We also, from time to time, will have vessels that will sail upon the waters utilizing the wind. Though our, shall we say, temperature is somewhat moderate, and our weather is never, shall we say, swinging, there is, shall we say, a breeze. Though you will find there is not what you would call tides, so to speak, due to the fact perhaps that we have no moon. In terms of, all right, partying, you may understand that everything that we do is in this spirit. There is an ever ongoing sense of celebration. In terms of strictly planning a party, no. In terms of many individuals turning up at the same place at the same time, yes. However, there will be a far difference in what we will consider entertainment and humor. Oh, perhaps as an analogy, not that we have lamps or lampshades, but upon my planet at a party, were one to place a lampshade upon their head, for all intents and purposes, they would become the lamp. So though there are many similarities, you may understand there are many differences as well. Will this have answered the questions?
Yes, for now, yes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Shut up.
Elan.
Ace, female, then male.
Hi, Elan.
Greetings.
Well, first, I wanted to ask something that I've been thinking about for a long time. Do you interact with our children upstairs? And does Whitney in particular, does she interact with Zetas? Because she's mentioned spaceships, and that hasn't been really mentioned to her. And for some reason, I just felt like a Zeta connection possibly.
Well, there may be overtones. The connection is more strongly to our own civilization. Understand, being that our parents would consist of you and the Zetas, there, by extension, is a connection, though it is, perhaps you can say, peripheral. We do interact, very interestingly enough, this question has not been asked very often, with many of your children, yours included, in dream reality. However, this will generally take the form of other children, human friends. For most often, when any of you interact with us in your nighttime dreams, you will bring it back as a seemingly very familiar friend But in general, because in that reality, you are interacting with us as complete equals. One of the forms of bringing it back as a memory will in general be to bring it back as a memory of having been with humans, since in general, that is your interpretation of equal. So therefore, it may not be obvious to them that they are interacting with anything that is that alien or foreign. It is far more familiar to them at this point.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can see that. Whitney talks about her divisible friends, and she says that one in particular, Shayna, that she talks about, and I'm wondering, does she actually, see them, and are they actually beings, or is it something that, I remember having friends as a child, but can you maybe give some information on
In a sense, you may understand that it is both. In other words, there is a consciousness that would correspond to it. But it will always be up to the individual to interpret, this is a real consciousness, this is my imagination. Generally, at some point, you will reach a point where you say, well, it is just my imagination. Therefore, the effect, the result that you get will have it having been just your imagination. But if it would, in that sense, behoove her to continue to define it as a discrete consciousness, then there will be the unfoldment of it as a discrete consciousness. So ultimately, it will depend upon the label that is assigned to it. For again, the assignment of meaning determines subtly the actions, which then determine the effect. So it is wide open right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I was also wondering if they interact with spirit guides.
There is, shall we say, some involvement from that end of particular guides, but it may not be that they are aware of them on a conscious level.
Okay.
Is that all?
Well, yeah, I guess I was wondering more about your interaction with them in particular, and like during sessions, a lot of times it's always struck me as amazing how they could be awake, 5 minutes before the session, and then as soon as you go into trance, they're out.
Well, understand, in having no agenda with interacting with them in what you call your dream reality, we generally simply play with them. Yeah. And increase the activity and concentration of doing so during these interactions for the obvious convenience.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you.
We thank you. Is there perhaps a question you may have had from last month?
No, actually, I
Do you trust in our timing for selecting?
yes.
We thank you. May
Good evening.
greetings. And good evening to you as well.
This is funny. My question is, last week I had a dream about talking to you. And it was specifically you, that's what I saw, but I don't remember what we said, what was covered. I'd like to know what we were talking about, if you can fill me in.
Nope.
Can you tell me anything about the other visits I've had since then?
What can you tell me? You will always notice your willingness to express what you do know then enables me to expand. Your hesitation in doing so simply does not provide me with information that you already have. Information will always come along the path of least resistance. And if you know something, there is no need for me to know.
Well, all I remember about the other visitations is that I knew that it happened because I get a particular type of coloration in my dream and figures. And that's all I remember of that. While the correspondence has been going on tonight, I've been getting some very strange feelings down the back of my neck.
Nice.
And my stomach has been doing some flip-flops. Why?
You are establishing a connection and no more, can I say?
Thank you.
Not as you expected. Congratulations.
Is this something to do with what I'm going to be doing in the future?
Thanks.
Can you tell me more?
No.
Thank you.
And to you.
Elan?
Ace.
Talking about dreams, I had a dream a few months ago and I saw a spacecraft. I've never dreamt about ETs or, once, but I've never seen a spacecraft. And
Describe the craft.
it was probably a silver color, but it looked like it was an animation almost until we looked at it more closely. And I was very concerned that Mark would see it. I was pointing up to the sky and saying, "Look, it's here. The spacecraft here. How exciting! You know, what does all this mean?" But as we looked at it, things began. And I was saying, maybe we're going to go up in this spacecraft. You know, this is it. We're, here, the opportunity's here. And at that moment, the scene changed and it became a huge sort of animated Mickey Mouse or some kind of cartoon figure like that. That was very entertaining and very huge in the sky. And it occurred to me that we were probably on board the craft. And in order that we wouldn't be, or that I wouldn't be so afraid, we were entertained by this visual figure that was a cartoon. And that was basically it.
Oh, well, you sound quite resolved about it. Was it simply that you wish to share it, or
Yes,
is there a question?
I just wish to share it, and
Your interpretation will do, and is quite accurate.
and wondered if you had anything to comment on that, or anything further to add.
There is a high degree of likelihood within the next 3 to 5 of your years that you will indeed have a physical craft sighting. That is all we are receiving.
All right. Will I be? Do you think I will be going aboard the craft?
Not yet decided.
Okay.
By the way, by you.
Oh, by me.
Yes. Therefore, you can interpret perhaps that dream as getting your feet wet.
Yes. I wondered if this also might have had anything to do with my expression of my art, my craft, photography, if that had any connection with that at all.
Well, to some degree, for there may be the opportunity for you to photograph some craft.
Okay, thank you.
And to you, for your willingness to act in this regard.
Elan?
Yes.
Elan, do the Zetas reincarnate in Essassani bodies, or do they create artificial bodies to inhabit, or are they still producing their own unique type of physical expression naturally?
Very interesting. Fascinating. Why do you ask?
It's a question that came up to me today, and it seems to have particular significance.
All right. Fascinating. Very perceptive. You may understand that similar to your own society, while they are intact as a society, they reincarnate, so to speak, back into their own society. But you may understand that one of the primary reasons from their perspective for the creation of my race and others which we will not discuss is to, in a sense, yes, reincarnate into our society. Very perceptive.
In order to ensure their survival.
Yes.
I see. Do they at any time create artificial bodies that they use?
Perhaps you can say altered natural bodies, which in a sense then become somewhat artificial.
Because aren't there several types, the taller types and the short dwarf types?
Yes, but in general, what you would perceive again is simply differing races developing in the same planetary system, not unlike your own, though again the races will differ. But also there is genetic alteration and what you might call surgical alteration to certain of the types.
Now, are these types produced naturally, or through like some type of sexual intercourse exchange? Or are they all
no
test tube
longer?
types?
That was the case.
They're all test tube types.
Well, in a sense, yes.
And that explains
they do not have tests or tubes, but we understand.
Does that explain the attenuation of the genetic potency?
Well, in a sense, it results ultimately in what you refer to upon your planet as replicative fading, yes.
And how does this fit in with my interest in interdimensional travel and levitation and the like?
I do not. How does it?
I think it has to do with developing the access for further exploration into these matters and coming into a clearer understanding of the varied ways in which the all that is does express himself and how it all interrelates into a grand whole.
Well, that will do marvelous.
Thank you.
Thank you. There will be but a few moments remaining to this interaction. Sherry.
Elan?
Ice.
Related to Tony's question, there was a female Zeta that you had mentioned, I don't know if it was last session at the house, who acted as a liaison of some sort. And I just remembered in his question that I had wondered what time frame she was from. Given related to his question that the Zeta would not have bodies of their own, is she
more a contemporary time frame of your own?
Oh, okay.
Is that all?
That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Shut
Elan?
Ice.
I forgot to mention before that Tuesday's my birthday.
Well, happy.
Thank you. I was wondering if there was anything that you would like to point out to me for the year upcoming.
Well, beginning on that day, you are born anew into your own unconditional love. So simply be willing to remove the conditions to your self-love, as we have discussed, and use, should you still choose to judge yourself, that judgment to glean where you are still imposing the conditions. Perhaps you can call this the year of unconditional self-love in your case.
That sounds exciting.
Oh yes, very exciting.
Thank you.
And to you. Shutting. Ice.
A friend has asked us to ask about the symbology behind the numbers 4, 7, 11, 22, and 44. They seem to be cropping up repeatedly in a spiritual reference. Do you have any comments about them?
Not really. Other than perhaps the number 7 representing to me the 7 densities of consciousness in your octave of reality.
The sense that I had was that they were referring to varying degrees of exactly what you just stated, octaves of density or dimension. The 4 being the current dimension that we are aware of, the 7 being the transformation that is coming up that we, as you said, are 1/5 the way through, the 11 being a transformation beyond that. Any comments?
Well, you just did. Perfect.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you wish to say in terms of the other 2 numbers, since you're on a roll?
Well, I know nothing about them other than they've been referred to as the beyond, or other strange, vague terms. Those are the numbers that I have no guesstimate upon.
Oh, you will. But we thank you in that sense for demonstrating that when you already know something, there is no need for me to add anything to it. And we thank you.
Elan?
Yes.
I have a question that's a little embarrassing to me to ask.
Oh,
in front of
well, I
everybody.
will not be embarrassed if you will not.
I'm embarking on things now that are very exciting to me, a new career and the planning and things like that for it. And I'm noticing at the same time an old behavior pattern of mine is cropping up.
Well, in a sense, that is impossible. For with the new information, you may say it is the old you, but it is truly the new you trying on old shoes. If you wish, describe.
I do, because I like somehow to shift how I'm doing this.
I'm working during the day, and then in the evening is when I have time to work on these new projects. And some evenings I don't accomplish anything. What we would call just veg out. Maybe I would turn on the television when I come in the door, and it would stay on till it's time for me to go to bed. And that whole process is really unconscious. So
Well, not really, for you are sharing it with us. When, in that sense, you decide and understand it is always a decision, a choice, to sit down and watch, as you say, television. From what is available, is that the most exciting option? Or do you not truly look at what all your options are?
It seems like I'm in this motion, my fingers doing it or I'm doing it, and I don't seem to be able to bring to my conscious awareness the idea that I'm choosing every moment.
All right, but really when this occurs and you are sitting there and saying, perhaps I should be doing something else, rather than saying, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, say, this is what I am doing, watching TV. What are my other options? Invoke them, call them up, put them down on the table before you. Then choose with your excitement. If watching television is the most exciting option, keep your eyes open to what you are watching. But if you give yourself the benefit of all the choices, many times you will simply find that one is more exciting, and simply you had not given yourself the benefit to think about it. Where the automatic behavior perhaps seems automatic is where you do not give yourself other options. So simply next time do so. It can be that simple if you allow it to be that simple. Do you see that as applicable?
Yes, I was very concerned by the automatic nature of this, and it's what I would term, in a way, depression. Since I'm not really acting, I'm not really excited, and just kind of sitting there like.
Well, perhaps one of the choices in that moment will be meditation, self-reflection, turning within. Put that on the table, put it out again next to everything else available, and choose. That way, at least, if that truly is the reason, then you will get down to the business. Perhaps sometimes you will find the watching of the television to be the most exciting thing. But when you have looked at the choices and chosen from those choices that choice, then you will enjoy the watching and not judge it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
Do you understand that where it appears automatic is when you would give the appearance of it being the only choice, rather than reminding yourself there are other choices?
It's in the part about reminding myself that I'm concerned about myself, because it's that little part, which is so small, it's the lever for everything, and that is really the part it seems like I'm in a fog. And so maybe even being able to bring it up to my awareness isn't there, because somehow I walk in the door in that way, and this could last for days when I do this, and I'm in a fog.
Again, perhaps as a method of centering, in those moments, invoke your clear intention, whatever that intention is. Then, again, lay down what is in the moment. So if you find yourself watching television, again say, are there other choices? Remind yourself of the other choices. Then choose from a list rather than from one choice.
I think that would really help if I could say to myself.
When you do say to yourself.
When I say to myself, yes.
Now, do you hope that you can do this? Or do you intend to do this?
I intend to do this, and I intend to interrupt that pattern.
Oh, then you will.
Thank you very much.
But perhaps up till now you have simply hoped.
Yeah. I felt powerless by that pattern and upset at myself that I observed myself doing it when I've seen that when I had done it in the past, I didn't accomplish things in the past that were actually important to me and that I could have accomplished.
But that was then.
Yeah.
This is
now. Thank you very much.
We thank
I
you.
deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Elan?
Yes.
Would it be more appropriate for me to study network chiropractic or channel a technique of healing myself, or would the study of network lead to the other?
Yes. Yes. And yes.
Thank you.
And you. At this time, allow me to once again send my intention for you all to experience unconditional self-love. Because I have this intention in my reality, in my multiverse, you will all unfold and bloom as the most beautiful of flowers. You may choose, if you wish, to mimic the vibration of the reality that I am suggesting by simply also having the same intention. Intention is vibratory alignment. Intention is the establishment of a frequency moving through your reality, having your reality move from you in a way whereby your excitement is what it is that you honor and act upon. Dials in, forges into the physical reality that vibratory foundational intention. The details take care of themselves. The details are not something you need prepare. They will be the fruits of your intention. If you will simply understand that perspective, then you will derive great service from them. Rather than concentrating on the details at the cost of the intention, allow the intention to bear the fruits of the details. You need not hope, which again sets up a counter vibration. You can substitute intention, which is purposeful vibration. It is up to you. I wish you all, as you are all quite active in this regard, a most fond and loving, pleasant dreams.
Thank you.